This is Ted. Ted is planning to fly out of his local Canadian International Airport to the US, then back to Canada. He has heard about the airport's security screening process and is worried about potential exposure to radiation from whole body scanners, so he decides to do some research of his own. Ted initially finds that these whole body scanners emit a very low dose radiation signal to produce a detailed image of the person being scanned to detect if there are any foreign objects hidden on them. As Ted investigates further, he determines there are two main types of whole body scanners in use throughout airports. The backscatter X-ray scanner uses ionizing radiation in the form of very low dose X-ray that is said to not penetrate much deeper than the skin to produce 2D images. It is currently used by the Transit Safety Authority in airports in the United States, but not in Canada. The millimeter wave scanner uses non-ionizing radiation in the form of radio waves that bounce off the body to produce 3D images. It is currently used by the Transit Safety Authority in airports in both Canada and the United States. These whole body scanners were introduced in the United States in 2009 after a man tried to blow up a plane headed for Detroit with a bomb hidden in his underwear. Since then, they have been adopted in many airports worldwide to help increase security. There was initially some resistance and discomfort to the introduction of these scanners as people felt uncomfortable having a detailed image of their person made available to security and potentially public view. There was also a strong resistance due to the exposure of radiation from the scanners that people deemed unnecessary due to its public perception and known health effects. In deciding which option to choose, governments have focused on the types of radiation used in both forms of whole body scanners, along with public perception of the technology. Canada has decided to forego using backscatter X-ray scanners due to the use of ionizing radiation. Ionizing radiation, as used in the backscatter X-ray, is the type typically thought of when term radiation is used, known to harm DNA, suppress the immune system, cause mutagenic effects, and lead to various cancers. In high doses, it can cause burns and potentially death. These connotations have led to a negative public perception for this type of scanner. It is typically regarded as a no-threshold linear dose-response model with ionizing radiation, where people should be exposed to as little as possible to reduce and potentially prevent related adverse health effects. Non-ionizing radiation, as used in the millimeter wave scanners, has not been extensively researched, so there are little known potential effects for millimeter waves, and research used by the US government is inaccessible to the public. One scan is said to be the equivalent to one cell phone transmission, resulting in mixed opinions, as some people are skeptical of the safety of cell phone use, while others believe it poses minimal risk. In exposure studies conducted on the backscatter X-ray scanners, it has been found that radiation exposure for one scan is equivalent to approximately 4 minutes of flight and many thousandths of a total yearly radiation exposure allowance. Another study calculated that there was a negligible increase in cancer cases of about an additional 6 cases for every 40 million with the use of whole body scanners. After gathering all of this information, Ted has decided he is comfortable with passing through an airport security's whole body scanner of either type, even if he does sacrifice some privacy and feels the exposures to each form of radiation are incredibly low, not presenting more than a negligible increased risk of developing cancer, along with helping play a role in increased flight security.